Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are having a lovely Friday. We are going to kind of kick off our weekend by doing some math. Let's get a little bit more with this algebra. So, if you are taking your GED, your ASVAB, your ACCUPLACER, maybe your TEAS test, HESI tests, any of those tests from A to Z, this is the live for you. So yes, I am using a packet that says ASVAB Math Studies, but a lot of this information can be used for any type of algebra. So we're working on some of the foundational pieces just to build up your skill set and also to build up your confidence in order for you to do math at an accelerated rate. So as you guys are coming on in, hey, let's get ourselves situated and try to look at some of these answers. So let's get started. I know I have you guys usually tapping away when you come in, but we're going to do a quick tap. So let's see to kind of ease you in to the comfort of mathematics. So number one, if A equals 3, what is the value of B in this equation? So if you're like saying, well, what equation, Audrey? This equation right here. So we have B equals A squared divided by 3 plus 3. So if A equals 3, what is the value of B? Is it A10, B8, C6, or D4? So we have Chavez coming in here. Charles, thank you so much. Terrence, how are you? So Terrence says C. Joe says C. Charles 6. Saying 6 twice. All right, from the Bronx. Okay. Dana or Dana saying C. User 3534 saying C. Eli is saying C. Mel or me saying 6, which is C. So let's take a look at it. All right, so all we're doing is we're taking this 3, plugging it in for our A. So that means we have 3 squared divided by 3 plus 3. All right, angel numbers, let's see it, 3, 3, 3. So now 3 squared, that gives me 9. And 9 divided by 3, that will give me a 3. And 3 plus 3 will give us our answer of 6. That's going to be what our B equals. All right. There you go, Morty. There it is. 9 divided by 3. Okay. So here's my thing. When it comes to the A's, when it comes to this 3 squared right here, this is not 3 times 2, okay? The 2 is not, and I repeat, the 2 is not the same size as a 3. So it's not 3 times 2 to give me 6. Then you get 2 plus 3 will give me 5, which wasn't even one of the options. It is 3 to the second power. So this exponent is telling this base, hey, over here, you are multiplying yourself by 2. Okay, you're multiplying yourself 2 times. So 3 times 3, that's where the 9 came from. All right. So now for the next one. The 8th root of 256 is what? The 8th root of 256 is what? Okay. Yeah, I'm not doing calculus questions, Charles. But thank you. All right, so Charles is saying 2. Okay. My person with the period is saying 2. Test before? Yes, I have. I actually had one person that passed it recently. Okay. Well, 2 is an answer. There you go, Perry. Ernest, thank you for the follow. Okay, so Eric is saying it's 4. All right, so we got competition with 2 and 4. Okay, 7 Sprouts is saying 2. There are 7 other answers as well. Okay. Okay, gonna book me soon? All right, not a problem. Okay, just go into send me a DM and then I'll give you all the connective. Okay, is this military ASVAB? That's the only ASVAB we got. That's it. Yep. It's one of many. Self 8 times, give me 256. There you go, Ron. There it is. Cindy saying my D2. All right. And if you're not sure, remember, question marks also can take a play into it. Okay. Mark Pet is saying D. All right. So let's take a look. So it's just like what, who said that? Ron. There you go, Rebel. Thank you. I was saying 2. So Ron mentioned that, okay, what times? It's 8 times will give me 256. So right away, if I try to do 6 times 6, I'm going to get 36, right? So if I do 6 times 3, so I have my 36 times 6. Let me see if I can use my brain. So, is it 216? Can you tell I've been doing math all day? Yeah. So just 3 times will give me 216, right? Imagine if I have to multiply this, basically, what? How many more times? 5 more times? That's going to be way too big. So if 6 is going to be way too big, obviously 8 is going to be way too big. Okay? So now if I go with my 4, I got my 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Let's even just go with that. So I have my 16 squared. So 16 squared, that gives me 256. But that's only for 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I need to take it to the 8th. So right away, your answer is going to be D. So if I multiply D to itself 8 times, let me slide over. So we're looking at 2. All right, then 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 will give us 16. So we have 16 times 16. And like we already said that earlier, will give us our 256. Okay? All right? So yes, there's probably other ways, but knowing that multiplication will help you once you start getting into a little bit more. Let me shrink this down a bit, or a lot. Okay. All right. Now, the next one. A circle has a radius of 5 inches. Okay? We need to know what a radius is. What is its approximate area? So they're giving us a little bit what pi should relate. First of all, they're talking about the area. So the area of a circle, if you recall, is pi r squared. Okay, yes, a lot of these formulas are going to pop up. Okay, so we want to know what a radius is. So if I drew a circle, as best I can, not too shabby. Here's the center of my circle. From the center of the circle to a point on the circle, that's called a radius. Okay, so all the way across from one point in the circle through the center of the circle to another part of the circle, that's called a diameter. All right, so we're talking about this radius of 5. They're saying that we can use 3.14 in place of pi. Now, we all know pi is a heck of a lot longer than 3.14. But since they're making that suggestion, and plus, since they want the approximate answer, we can do this. And our radius is going to be 5, and that's being squared. Okay. All right. Yup, pi r squared. There you go, Ron. See, it doesn't leave you. It doesn't leave you at all. Okay, so Rebel's saying B. J Money, what's up, J Money? Is saying B. Dana is saying B. Okay, Sharpa, welcome back. You're saying B. All right, Just Russ is saying 22 over 7. And we'll give you your 3.14. Okay. All right. Not sure. Just got here. Hi, John. Welcome back. All right. Chavez was saying B. All right. So I know for sure that a lot of us is using a calculator. Now, this is the sad news. Well, not sad for people that are doing TEAS test or the HESI test. You can use a scientific calculator. Perfectly fine. But ASVAB, GED, ACCUPLACER, you cannot use a calculator. So if you notice that I'm doing a lot of stuff by hand, is so I can try to help like both sides of the table when it comes to this. All right. Now, here's the one thing that we are trying to do. This is for everybody. Now, you are not going to multiply the 3.1 by 5. Reason being, you got PEMDAS. Remember that? If you don't, let me put it over here. It's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And this is the part that everyone forgets. From left to right. Okay? So, most of us will say, oh, let me do the multiplication first. No. If you look inside the parentheses is done, we don't have anything. The next thing is exponents. What's being raised to the second power is not 3.4 times 5. It's just the 5. So that 5 squared is the same as saying 5 times 5, which gives me 25. So now we have our 3.14 times that 25. Now, instead of multiplying all of this, because they're saying approximate, why not round it? Why not round that 3.14 to just 3? Just so we can get a rough idea where the answer will be. So this is what I mean. You will take your 3 and you will multiply 25. Okay? 25 times 3, we should kind of know that. We got our 5, that's 70, that's 75. If you want to think of change, 3/4 gives me 75 cents. So we're looking for something that's going to be roughly in the 70s. So when I do this, the only thing that's roughly in the 70s is going to be option B. Now, if you have two answers that are in the 70s, one that's 75 and one is actually the 78.5, well then, let's multiply the whole entire thing, okay? So you're going to have your 3.14 times the 25. All right, old schooling it. 5 times 4, that gives me 20, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 gives me 15. Now we're multiplying 2 and 4. We don't need this first place. This gives us our 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we're going to add. But when we add, this has 2 decimal places. This one has none. So my answer needs to be 2 decimal places. Let's get with the adding. So we got 0. This is 15. Carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7 plus 1 is 8. And 7 and 1 or 6 and 1 gives me 7. Now I need my 2 decimal places. So I'm starting here at the ones. I'm going 1, 2, and I got my decimal place at 78.50 or 78 and 5/10. Okay. So by rounding and multiplying, sometimes that will help you to get close to your answers. And then it'll be easier for you to pick out your perfect choice. Okay. All right, let me take a look at what you guys are seeing, because I've been seeing things flipping around. Okay. All right. So, yes, it's for GED. Good. Thank you, Ron. There you go. It's been a minute. I know, right? All right, Marlon saying B, Texas Instrument. Yep. Show your work. All right. So then we have for exponents first. There we go, exponents. So we're talking about that. Then there was some naughty comments. Guys, I know it's after 5 on Friday, but jeez, calm it down. All right. So thanks for the follow. All right. Okay. So when you're taking these type of standardized tests, please remember, they really just care about, did you pick the right answer? Okay. All this extra stuff that you did over here, they don't care. Okay. You don't get extra points for doing that. You don't get a sticker. Sorry. I know. A little scratch and sniff sticker that we used to get back in the day. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at this one, and then we'll do a little pause with a quick little tap extravaganza. All right, no problem, spoon and fork. Can I call you spork? Okay, so Dana's saying A. Okay, I see you. Lowercase or uppercase, that works for me. Okay, Sharpa saying A. You do 1-to-1 for ASVAB. Yes, I do. Definitely reach out. Okay, hey Jordan Squared, how are you? Okay, do I do pre-calculus algebra? Yes, I do. Okay, so we have Todd with A, Trey with A, Jab and me saying A, Peg G, I want to say that, A. Hey, hey Erica, how you doing? All right, thank you with the A. Okay. Alicia saying B. Okay, a couple of the follows. OJ. Oh, OJ, you back? All right, you got an A. All right. All is well. It is Friday. It has been a really good week for tutoring. Do I do geometry or trig? I do. Okay, I don't like constructions, but I will suck it up and do it. Okay, Rossi, Deja. All right, Rossi, I see you, babe. I see you, Rossi. I see you. You are synced. The Florida general test, I actually was working with someone with that. And then all of a sudden they kind of failed off on me. So, hey, always reach out. Okay, always reach out, especially with the general stuff. Now, let's take a look. If negative 8a equals 64, then a equals. All we're doing, people, is one-step solving. Okay, so since it's an equal sign, we don't have to worry about flipping anything. We're dividing by a negative 8. The reason why we're dividing, if you just don't see a plus or a minus sign between the 8 and the variable, that means you're doing multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So when we have that negative 8 divided by negative 8, that will give us our A. A. Okay? So now we have 64 divided by negative 8. A positive divided by a negative. When the signs are unlike, your answer is always going to be negative. Once I did that, yeah, I can keep going, but look at my answer choices. The only thing that was negative is A. That's my answer. Click it, bubble it, circle it, move on. All right? And don't be like, well, let me write down why I got that. They don't care, especially if you're not in the classroom. Let me emphasize that, because sometimes we do get students in here that's in the classroom. And they're like, well, this lady says I don't have to show my work. Yeah, when you're in the classroom, you got to show your work, because that's how you get your full credit. But if you're taking these standardized tests, they're not looking at your strips of scrap paper, if they do give you scrap paper anymore. I'm hearing that they laminate scrap paper and they give you like a little marker and a little wipe. And all of a sudden you come out looking like a teacher with markers all over yourself. Like you've been to war. All right. Yes, I do regular algebra as well. I do college algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2. That's usually my jam, but I like doing those things. All right. So if you love what's happening right now, can you please show your love by doing some tapping? Think about how you found your way here. Okay, you were probably just scrolling and all of a sudden in your FYP, boom, here I come. You just see my cute little brown hand in my pen and we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. And it's probably because of someone else that you are following also has stopped in one of my lives. And then that's how the lovely algorithm just connected us. Okay. So if we can do a mad tap, let's see if we can get to at least 10K. There's 276 of us. Was my singing that bad that one person had to leave? 2 people had to leave? Come on. Show a little love. Here you go. Freshman, how much? Yes. Oh, good, gaming. I appreciate that. Oh, you passed algebra 2? Good job, Trey. All right. Just all I'm asking is for taps. That's it. So we can get more people in, so we can help more people. Now, I'm not sure while you guys are tapping, before I get to the next problem, I knew when I was younger, I've had some good teachers and then I had some not so good teachers. My experience with math, especially once we got into algebra, was not good. I used to suck at math, like adding, subtracting fractions, doing word problems. Terrible. Like I would just skip it. And because I didn't understand it and I didn't have someone that was able to break it down. And especially when you're in a classroom where everybody wants to go running outside for recess, you don't want to be that person to raise your hand and say, I don't get it. Because you know that is just like middle school death right there, right? So you just suck it up, and next thing you know, you keep sucking up through high school, sucking it up through college, and then finally you found the job that you're okay with and you feel comfortable with. But now you have a child and they're coming up with you saying, I got a question with math, and you're like, I'm breaking out in hives. Okay? So, yeah, are there like strict teachers with math? Yeah, there's some are strict, some of them are pretty good. All right. Well, thank you, Spoon and Fork. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good. With 98s, nice gaming. Love that. What are you going to do with it? Now that you're gone, now you got all that, what are you going to do with it? Okay, we're almost there, guys. We just need 0.4. You never had a cool math teacher? Aw. A negative plus a negative. Not a negative plus a negative, Deja. A negative times a negative will give you a positive. A negative plus a negative stays negative. Okay. For your GED, taking your test next week. All right. Okay, nice. Well, one, I am wishing you luck. If you need any more assistance, please don't hesitate. Maybe we can just do a session together and see how it goes. All right. Okay, as promised, thank you for the 10K. I appreciate it. It's almost at 11 now. All right, not a problem. All right, so you're going to go into the military, pass the ASVAB, should be a cake. It should. Good. It should. All right. Thanks, Jeezy. Appreciate it. Okay, you're taking yours on October 9th? Okay. All right. Again, if you guys want like a quick refresher, we can do something, but definitely reach out and let me know, because that's the only way I can make any kind of adjustments. All right. Well, hello. Studying the Lord teacher? Oh, studying. Yes, exactly, Trey. Exactly. So the teacher certification? Yes. Hey, Justin, how are you? All right, so let's take a look. In the following diagram, what is the value of X? So let me zoom in a little bit so you can take a quick look at the Look at our triangle. Okay. So we want to know what's the value of this angle right there. Okay. And this is where I got the stuff from. So if you ever like, where did you get this from? This is where I got them from. Okay. I want to give them credit when credit's due because it was already there. All right. Okay. So we got Justin. We got Jab with the C. Okay. So now we have a kind of idea. So let me slide over so you can see what the answer choices are. So we have A, which is 60, B, which is 90, C, 45, D, 15. Okay. So we're saying our C's. Yes, that's exactly right. It has to add up to 180. Good. Okay, so I got a couple C's. I got my 45s, So we're not looking at the length of the sides. Okay, we're just looking at our angles for right now. Okay, we got our 45s. We got O'Neill with the 45. Thank you so much. All right, Alicia's saying D with the 15. Gaming saying 45. Mr. Cooper saying 45. Thank you. Yep, gotta love those special triangles. Okay, you learned this before? I hope so. I hope so. All right. Now we got our user 1109 saying 45. Deja with my C. All right. GZ with my 45. Camera back. Okay. Getting your PhD in that. Is getting your PhD in mathematics worth it if you failed geometry in high school? It's up to you if you want to get your PhD. It doesn't matter what you did in high school. That was back then. We're talking about the future now. What do you want to do? Okay, you want it? If you want to go after it, do it. Now, what are you going to do with it? That's the thing. Okay, so Mr. Cooper, you teach geometry? There you go. Let's see the diagram. I know I had to hide it over and let me slide over because I know some people are just coming on in. Okay, so we have a 90-degree angle here, 45-degree angle here, and we're talking about this angle here. What is the measure of that angle for those that are just coming in? Do I teach for the ASVAB? Yes, I do, Cass. Let's go. Okay, Matt is saying 45. Is it Jay-Z? So why is it saying Jeez? But we got you. All right, I'm going to try to correct it. Hey, Jess, how are you? Morty, okay, blah. Is that Bianca? All right. No, we're not doing SOHCAHTOA. So, as you know, all of the angles, of no matter what kind of triangle it is, if it's a right triangle, an acute triangle, a isosceles triangle, we are knowing that all the angles equals 180 degrees. So, if we have 90 degrees, which they didn't want to put, but usually it has this type of symbol if it's a 90-degree angle. They didn't want to make it too obvious. But then we have 45. So if it's 180, 180 divided by 2 is 90. So that means the sum of these two angles have to be 9 degrees. 45 plus 45 gives me 90 degrees. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, let's keep the party going. Let me unzoom a good amount. So for the following right triangle, okay, what is the value of x? Okay, round to the nearest hundreds. And then something like that. Okay. So what will be the length? Now we're talking the length. What will be that side? Okay, not the degrees. We're looking at the side now. We're looking at the side. Okay. Yeah, I'm not into integration. Like 6. Okay. About 6. All right, so we're saying D. Can this help on the SAT? Yes. Any kind of form of algebra is definitely in the SAT, ACT, ASVAB, GED, ACCUPLACER, TEAS test, IBEW test, Praxis test. If there's a test, algebra's in it. Now it's getting to the point, people, that people are putting algebra in their interview process for regular jobs. I have a former student that she has now got the job of a receptionist. She was going after a receptionist job, and there was math, like algebra, in the interview questions. There's no escaping it, guys. There's no escaping it. Yeah, this used to be on TESFA. Okay, you're taking the T's next week. All right, good luck. All right, no problem. All right, so let's take a look. Ooh, someone's asking, so what formula do we use? All right, so one, they tell us what type of triangle it is. It is a right triangle. So they didn't indicate it here, but they indicate it in words in the problem. So now they're saying, what's the value of x? So if this is a right triangle, that means this side and this side, they're called the legs of the triangle. This side is called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. Okay? So if my hypotenuse, is my longest side, it has to be something that's longer than 4 and 5. Just like those other people mentioned, it has to be 6 something, right? So right away, the ones that I'm getting rid of is going to be B because it's lower than 4 and 5. Then 10, all right, might be a rough thing, but 23, I don't know. I think that's a far fetch, okay? But let's take a look. The way that you can figure it out, one of the ways, is doing the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Your A and your B, they're your legs. And the legs are interchangeable. And that means it doesn't matter which is representing A, which is representing B. So if I wanted to make this 5 squared plus 4 squared, I can do that. Okay? If I wanted to make it 4 squared plus 5 squared, I can do that. It's the same thing, okay? Or not the same thing, but it doesn't matter what positioning. But the longest side definitely has to be your C. So now, let's square. 5 squared, that gives me 25. Not 10. Stop it. Okay, 4 squared, that gives me 16. Not 8. Cut it out. All right. Oh, thank you so much for the roses, guys, and the gifts. I appreciate that. All right. So now, 25 plus 16. Okay, 25 plus 16, that gives me 41. And we're going to make it into the square root of 41 because the inverse of a square is a square root. Okay, so these cancel each other out, just like saying the inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of multiplication is division. Okay, so the inverse of a square is not a circle. All right, stop it. It is a square root. So now we got the square root of 41. If I can't use a calculator, all right, I can think of my perfect squares. So we can have, let's see, 6. All right. So if I did the square root of 36 and square root of 7, or 7 squared, that gives me 49. I know that the square root of 41 is going to be somewhere in between these two numbers. And you're probably saying, well, how did you figure 36? Well, 6 squared gives me 36. Then 7 squared gives me 49. And 41 is in between 36 and 49. Okay? So that's why earlier when they said it's going to be 6 something, your answer is going to be D. Okay? So it's going to be somewhere between. Yes, I know, Zaz, I know. Everybody, I know. Andy, hello. All right. Okay, so it's all with that. Okay. Yes, time crunch does play a big role. So here's my thing when it comes to some of these. If you notice, like I said, we got 4 and 5, and this is the longest side, so it has to be longer than 4 and 5. So that's why we got rid of this. 23 is a huge stretch. So it's probably between C and D. Once you kind of figure out what your number is, your square root, you gotta know your multiplication and like your perfects, your perfect squares and your perfect cubes. If you can get those down, especially up to like 12, if you can push it to 15, that'll be awesome. But that will kind of help you out in the long run. Okay. Hey, hey, baddie. What's going on? I just love to entertain people. Here we go. Now, GED people, let me speak to you for a second while you guys look at this. With the GED, you have a series of, questions. You can have a 1-point question, 2-point question, 3-point question, or 4-point question. Now, your 4-point questions is going to be dealing with slope, the equation of the line, factoring, Pythagorean's theorem, system of equations, volume. Those are going to be some questions that you're really going to have to hold true to, as well as understanding a lot of the basic math, like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, whole numbers, integers, fractions, decimals, dealing with exponents and absolute values. If you can get a good grasp with those, as well as understanding a lot of those 4-point questions, you'll be able to pass the exam. Okay, you'll be able to pass the exam. But if you try and you skip over all of the slope and the equation line questions, you're not going to pass. You're not. You're not going to have enough numbers. So you have to get at least like 3 or 4 4-point questions in order to solidify your numbers. Okay, just want to give you a heads up. Hopefully you got it. That was a gem. All right, what do you guys do? Clock it? Okay, there we go. All right, so for my answers, yes, I'm seeing a lot of B's, which is good. Good, you love these. Awesome. All right, yes, only matches the FOIL. Yes, you can do FOIL. Okay, you can do distributive property. Is your final guess? Hello, Michael. How are you? Okay, so we're getting all of this. So if you don't know and you don't understand, not a problem. I'm here to break it down. So let's take a look. We have 5x plus 5 times 2x plus 6. So I know some people are going to be like, well, couldn't I just factor it out? True, but you're going to be dealing with some other stuff. Let's keep this simple, all right? It's not the time. During these exams, it is not the time to reinvent the wheel. So if you want to, we're going to take this 5x and we're going to distribute to everything in that second parenthesis. So now we have 5x times 2x because we're multiplying. So 5 times 2 gives me 10. X times x gives me x squared. When you are multiplying, you're adding the exponents. If you don't see an exponent, it's assumed to be a 1. Okay, so that right there will give me 10x squared. Now, when you multiply the 5x to the positive 6, that gives me a positive 30x. So now we're going to take this positive 5 and we're going to distribute that to everything in the second parenthesis. So that means 5 times 2x, that gives me a positive 10x. And then 5 times a positive 6, that gives me a positive 30. Now, I'm going to be truthful. Ready? After I do the distribution of the first parenthesis, what I have in black, immediately I'm looking at my answer choices. Because remember, there's also the thing called time that's going against you. GED, you have roughly 1 minute and 12 seconds to do one problem. ASVAT, you have roughly 1 minute and 7 seconds, okay, to do each problem. There's going to be some problems you're going to know within 7 seconds. There's going to be some problems you're going to be like, oh, I think I'm going to need that full minute. But think about it. The times that you don't have to use the full time, it's going to naturally pour over into problems that you're going to need, okay? So, since I have like 10x squared, the only thing that gives me 10x squared is B. So I didn't even have to do all this stuff that's in green, okay? When you're doing these standardized tests, once you get that beginning portion, you take a look. If I saw two of the answers with, say, 10x squared, then I will continue on. Here's another tip. Ready? You multiply the first two. Where's my highlighter? Here we go. If I do the multiplication of the first two numbers, so that's my 5x and my 2x. Then I take a look at my last two numbers, which is the 5 and the 6. So I look, okay, 5x times 2x gives me 10x squared. Say, for instance, say that was a 10x squared. Let's just pretend. Just use our little imagination. Okay, Mr. Rogers. Okay, rest in peace. So we look at the last numbers, the 5 and the 6. That gives me 30. This one doesn't end in 30, but this one does. This is your answer. Sometimes you can get it by just multiplying the first two numbers and then multiplying the last two numbers to check to see which one is going to be your answer choice. Okay? Again, classroom students, go all the way. All right? Show all your stuff. At the same time. Yep, you can do that as well. Yep. Okay. All right. But you don't want to lose too much time because sometimes we get so caught up, and I do notice that. Some people will be like, I did flag some numbers and I totally forgot. I don't know how they forgot it. They flagged it, right? But they spent so much time on all the other stuff, then all of a sudden they just randomly guessed instead of like, oh, okay, let me process this for a second. But you can do this. Okay, we'll see. It may not be difficult to you. It might be difficult to others. Okay, making these steps. Hey, there we go. So, number 8, F5. Woo! You can tell I'm tired. All right, been tutoring since, 8 o'clock this morning, so I'm exhausted. All right, so 5 times A minus 6 equals 22. What is the value of A? Okay, what is the value of A? Oh, someone asked a question. Okay. All right. Viking King, you are cracking me up. All right. So we got user with a D, Cindy with a B. Can I solve 7 by factoring it? It's already factored. The original was already factored. Okay. All right. So we have Babe Girl with a B, Jess with a B, Nova with a B, Cindy with 10.4, that's a B. Okay, we got great. I got you, Nova. Got you, Racer with a B, Addicted B. Okay, check the chat. I know. It's always like this person. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, so number 7 was already in factored form. Okay, your calculator says 10.5. All right, so let's take a look. Now, we could do that division of 5 on both sides, but you're going to be looking at the fractions in a hard way. So let's distribute this 5 to everything inside the parenthesis. So we have 5a minus 30 equals 22. So once we do that, we're going to add 30 on both sides because our ultimate goal is to get the variable, which in this case is a, by itself. So you have 5a is equal to 52. So now we're going to divide everything by 5. So here I go. If I take it, I'm going to swing it over here for a second. So if I have my 5 divided by 52, how many 5s can go into 2? Well, one of them. So once I see this 1, 5 times 1 gives me 5. That gives me my 0. So that automatically 7 and 2.4 is out. The only ones that are giving me a 1 is B and D. But it's not an even number because how many zeros? We got 1 0 because then we need to bring down our 20, a 2, put our decimal point, give me my 0. So now instead of a 2, it's a 20. And you go, how many 5s can go into 20? That's 4 of them. And then you get your 10.5, which, once I show it over, will be your B. Don't change your answers. Okay. Which kind of test? User 9104. Which test? Because every test is different when it comes to time. All the times are not exactly the same. Okay, so if it's GED, that's 1 minute 12. If it is ASVAB, a minute 7. You got 30? Yeah. How did I get 30? When you distribute, when you multiply. When you distribute, you're multiplying. So 5 times a gives me 5a, and 5 times negative 6 gives me negative 30. Okay, you added by mistake? All right, there you go. Okay. How did you get 55? I don't know. I don't know. That's the only thing. I don't know what goes on in your brain. I only have so much power, so much will. All right, for number 9. Okay, for number 9, and then we're going to stop and do a little mad tap there. So number 9, if 3 20 raised to the 24th power equals 3 raised to the 8th power times 3 raised to the x power, what is the value of x? Is it A, 2, B, 1.5, C, 3, or D, 16? Okay, so M, I'm saying C, Cindy saying C, Jess saying C, Kaya, hi, Kaya, saying D, Nova, D, Pove, C, M, C, all right, C, I see you, huh, Michael, D, Gamers, C. Oh, we got a battle between the C's and the D's. Icy, Eric, D. Addicted to Cess, D. Babe, girl, C. Okay. Constant growth, D. Dana, D. Your mother of two, been in school graduate. Hold on. All, but I still need help with math. Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. All right, addicted. I see you with your D. User C. We're saying a C with those. Okay. Hanny, D. Shane, 16. Bobby, D. D. All right. Vanessa, C. Angel with an A. Okay, changing it up. Angel squared. All right. So, Bobby with a B, with a D. All right, let's take a look. Here's the thing. Okay, just like everything in math, we're dealing with exponents. All of the bases are the same. Okay, they all have the same base, which is 3's. So, looking at this section right here. So, when you are multiplying, you add the exponents. Okay, I'll say that again. When they have the same base and you are multiplying, you're adding the exponents. So basically, you want to know 8 plus what would equal 24. Okay, not 8 times. You're not multiplying the exponents, you're adding them. Multiplying, you add the exponents. Dividing, you subtract the exponents. So, what number can take the place of x to give me my 24? There we go. Don't say boo. Okay. All right. So we got our 16s. Okay. We got our 16s because 16 plus 8, that will give me my 24. All right. It's okay. It's okay. I know there's so many rules. There's so many things we have to follow. And, you know, we're all a bunch of rule breakers. That's how we survived. All right. So which of the following is an obtuse angle? Ooh. Let's not be so obtuse. Thank you so much for the roses. Here we go. Let's go. How did I get 16? 8 plus 16 will give me my 24. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not. Oh, for this one. Okay, so we got our one saying 116. We got a whole bunch of A's. Let me go back. My mystery people. All right, so we have TJ with my A. Eric with my A. Okay, my mystery person 116. Deja A. User 1109 A. Lubes A. All right, got your teacher, got your mystery person. Addicted A. Baby girl. Okay, Shane. Any angle that's greater than 90 degrees. Yep, greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180. Jedi with an A. We got E with an A. What does obtuse mean? Thank you, because I knew that was going to happen. Okay, going to message me? Not a problem. Go ahead. How do I get 8? 8 is the exponent. 8's the exponent, babe. It's the exponent. Okay, so you got A, you're bad. Not a problem. A is obtuse, yes. Okay, Rochelle is saying D. Jamie 116, which is A. Okay, I see that. Ram with A. Jess. BCD are cute. Yes. Is that Wynette? A. Angel. A. Okay, is this algebra 1 or college algebra? Both. It's algebra. Okay, you're obtuse? Yes. Anything over 90 degrees? Yep, but less than 180. Because remember, 180 is a straight angle. Okay? All right, so just like I think it was Jess that mentioned, the 68, the 25, and the 80, they're all acute angles. They're so small. They're so acute. All right? So anything less than 90 degrees, even that 88.7, 88.9, 0.977, all that, and less is going to be an acute angle. So 90 degrees is exactly a right triangle. Anything greater than 90 but less than 180 is an obtuse angle. Okay? And then an angle that's 180 degrees, you have a straight angle, and then you have your flex. All right. All right, awesome. Awesome. All right. I know I keep saying it because I'm like, I want all the taps, but here we go. Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem. Because you got to understand, guys, like there's moments, there are moments that we haven't seen this since you were a fetus. And now all of a sudden they say, hey, if you want to keep your job, you need to go back to school and get your, whatever associate's degree so you can keep your job. Or, oh, you want to stay in this class? You got to take this. And you haven't seen algebra in a minute. And I'm going to also tell you, COVID screwed our kids up. You thought they were screwed up before? I'm just going to say that they were really screwed up, to put it oh so nicely. So we are still trying to come back from that. Do not let anyone tell you. I think every teacher known to man, if they're not at the bar right now, they are basically telling you that your child is behind. So all we can do is build ourselves up one problem at a time. So this time we have the factor of this expression, x squared plus 5x minus 6. So we either have A, this is supposed to be an exponent, sorry about that. That was an A, that's B, that's C, and D. So I'm seeing a whole lot of C's. I got Slay is telling me A, but she's not sure. Okay, not a problem. Them are behind. Thank you. Enjoy that little drinky poo, girl. You deserve it. Put them feet up. I know, I was in the trenches too, 22 years, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. But I'm not done teaching. I want to actually start teaching. The whole reason why my ass is in debt, went to school for all this, learned all this stuff so I can break these concepts down. Can I actually do that? No, I have to check off this mark, do that mark. Okay, all right. All right, enough of the soapbox. How do you do this equation? I'm going to break it on down in a second. Okay. You can't see C and D. Can't see C and D right there. Okay. It's like you can't see C. Okay. X plus 6 and X minus 1. Okay. C is wrong, so B. Okay. So that's all spell check rough. Yeah, I know. It's cut off. It's cut off. It's not cut off on my screen. That's weird. Okay. All right. So let's break this down. So we have our x squared plus 5x minus 6. Since my leading coefficient, and how do I know it's the leading coefficient? Because it has the highest exponent. So the number that's in front of the x, we have the highest exponent. So since my leading coefficient, and you don't see anything, that means it's a 1. So that means I can just go ahead and split my x's. So now we have our negative 6. I like to draw a little box or a little x there. We're comparing our negative 6 and 5. Negative 6 is the product of my A and my C. And I want to know what two numbers multiply to give me negative 6 and add to give me a positive 5. Okay. So what two numbers multiplied together will give me negative 6, and those same two numbers, including their signs, add those together to give me a positive 5. Okay. So we're saying 6 and 1. One of them has to be negative. Okay, Jenny is saying 6 and negative 1. All right. So 1 and 6. So Shane, one of them has to be negative. Nerd, yes. Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks, Jake. Okay, Desiree saying -1 and +6. Okay, -5. Ooh, tweet. Make sure you understand. We're multiplying to get me my -6. Okay, so Diamond, if I do -2 and -3, if I add those together, that will give me a -5. And plus, if I multiply those two together, that will give me a +6. So -3 and 2, Cindy, if I multiply, yes, that will give me -6. But if I add -3 and 2, I'm going to get a -1. Okay. So middle school girl. All right, cool. No. Is it Noelle? Noella? Help me, Noelle. Okay. So we have our 6 and we have our -1. Because 6 times -1 gives me -6. And 6 plus -1, okay, gives me 5. I have $6. I spent $1. That means I have $5 left over. These two numbers, that we found, I'm going to put in with their signage. So it's a +6 because it's a +6, and a -1 because it's a -1. So this gave us the answer of, C. So that is multiplication. This is the reason, the factoring that we see right here, this is the reason why I designed my math notebook. Okay, so for some of you guys that are just like, what math notebook? Okay, usually I do problems within my math notebook. So let me slide this in for a second. So what I do is we have certain concepts. You got a section to put your formula, a section for your steps, and then we just basically do and put all of our notes in one notebook, okay? I like to use different colors, and it also happens on both sides, okay? The other side is more of like a grid factor. But in addition to this, I have what's called a resource page. One of the resources that I have here is a factor sheet. So if you knew that it was tough for you to factor a -6, well, I'm going to come here and take a look at 6. So my factors of 6 is 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So I know I would have to play around with the negative sign so I can get my -6, but then see what arrangement will give me a +5. Okay, so that's why I have this factor sheets. So I go from 1 all the way to 200 because we're going to be doing advanced stuff. This is algebra. So this book is for algebra and algebra 1. And I have a whole bunch of concepts, little reminders, and a lot of stuff is on both sides, of course, and including, conversions, okay, system of equations, arithmetic and geometric sequence. We're doing all the different types with percents and decimals, okay, fraction operations that we're talking about, linear and quadratic equations, all of this wrapped up in one notebook, okay? So, and this is what I generally do for a lot of my tutoring students, because with my tutoring students, they're currently struggling in with that. And I know a few of the kids that looked at or used my factor sheet before I put it in a notebook. They were like, this is helping me so much. Okay? All right. So if you ever, let's get a math tap to at least 27. We can do that. There's 265 of or 63 of us in here. So while you're doing that, and say that, hey, Audrey, I would love to stay, but I want to kind of get a little tipsy. Not a problem. All right. So this is what we got here. You can go here and you can look and type up this. And I would love for you to do these things. Okay. It's a free subscription, so don't worry. I'm not trying to hit your pockets just yet. But if you do want the replays, give me some time with this one, but it will be up before midnight unless TikTok wants to do something funky. All right. So you can go there. I'm going to take this off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And if you need any kind of assistance, some of you guys mentioned that, hey, I would love to get some tutoring. All right. Make sure you come here and I can tell you that. There you go. All right. Good evening, Marvalee. How are you? All right. Okay. I know. It's coming, Deja, because I know a lot of people ordered it, and it should be like a week's time. And so far that I know if they've been on point. So we're probably going to see it. If it's supposed to come this week, if you picked whatever shipping, if it didn't come today, it's probably going to come tomorrow. Okay. So now, if you want to, you can either order it here or you can order it from the A. Okay. If you order it from the A, you know, the brown box with the smiley face on it, you know, there's like a rainforest named after it. Okay. It's there as well. Okay. So you can order it from those two places. All right. I'm going to take this off in 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, so you have different types of books. Thank you for the taps. Okay, so the one that I showed you, this is basically for Algebra 1 and pre-algebra, Algebra 1 and and Algebra. This one, I don't know why everything, that's why. This one here, if you want to do for Algebra 2 and Calculus, you can do that here. So again, we have like the factor sheet. We have like the complex numbers that we talk about a little bit. We have the squares and the cubes, the listing all the way from 1 to 15, because our students do not know how. All right, we have a conversion chart. We have the factors operation. And then as well as certain terms and phrases, rules of integers, okay? But what makes it a little bit different, we got the logarithmic and the exponential. Then we also have acceleration, okay, velocity and time, which helps us out here. We have that volume, surface area, but then we have the conic sections and our famous, we love it, unit circle, which is coming up second semester for Algebra 2 people. All right, then we have our reference. We have our trig identities, which go into that pre-calc, and then finishing up with Pascal's triangle. Okay, so just those same pages and everything else, but just the references are different. And there is a left-handed version as well. The lefty version, you can only receive that here because the big A will not allow me to do left-handed books. Right? They can go to the moon, but they can't give me a left-handed book? What the hell? All right, we'll talk about that later. All right, so if you want more information about that, you can go ahead and message me. All right, so thank you very much for the taps. Thank you for being patient with my little mini commercial. Now, find the slope of the line running through points 6, 7, and 5, 3. Oh, I know, Jenny. Yeah, I don't have a geometry one. I do not. Okay. Okay, so I got a couple of B's. So I'm gonna say Raja, B4. Addicted, same B. Jess, same B. Okay, Chris, I know Chris. Chris, the same B. Okay, Gone again, the same B. Blake is saying E. Danny, how are you? Okay, so it's no Elia, saying B. Is it Imzian? Saying D. Be here to see how to solve these equations. All right, TJ, appreciate you. Okay. Calvin. Okay, that's an A. I'm all right. I'm okay. All right. So, finding slope. This is the battle that we have each and every time. All right. Okay, so we got our B's. Yeah, you're a little late. Okay. All right, D, thank you. Nice name. Kevin, B. Okay, Marvelli, same B. Okay, Carlo, same B. All right, let's take a look. Now, we can do slope. All of us know slope basically as rise over run. Okay. We also know it as the change of y's over the change of x. Okay. Since we like to read from left to right, this is my first point. So that's my first x, my first y. This is my second point. So this is my second x and my second y. When you're doing the difference of the y's, and this is when it's always the discrepancy. Everyone knows it originally as y2 minus y1. Now, this makes everyone crazy. The reason why, they do the y's perfectly fine, but they take a moment, and when it comes to the x's, they go the opposite way for the x's. It happens every time. So why not go from left to right? You're going to get the same answer. Okay? So let me trust you. Let me come in over here and let me show you. All right. So if I do it with y2 minus y1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, that means I'm doing 3 minus 7, 3 minus 7. Now follow in that same pattern. It's not going to be 6 minus 5. No, it's going to be 5 minus 6. Yeah, but Audrey's going to give me a negative number. I know. All right. So now 3 minus 7, that gives you a negative 4. And 5 minus 6, that gives you a negative 1. So a negative divided by a negative will give us a positive. So positive 4 over 1 or just 4. Now, what happens if I go the other direction? What happens if I go y1 minus y2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2? I'm going to start still with the y's. The y's are always going to be the numerator. So that means we have 7 minus 3 over 6 minus 5. 7 minus 3, that gives you 4. And 6 minus 5 gives you 1. A positive divided by a positive will give us a positive. Positive 4. Notice, you get the same answer. You just have to follow the same pattern. Now, psychologically or brain-wise, when it comes to, especially if you have kids with any kind of visual, disabilities, going from Y2 to Y1 hurts their brain. I don't even know why we've been doing it for so long. You know, we didn't invent it. So we read from left to right. It works best. Y2 minus Y1 works best for people that read from right to left. But we in the States read from left to right. So keep with that pattern. Okay, it's a little less strenuous on their visual. Go ahead, look it up. It's definitely in studies. I know, it's crazy, right? All right. Now, how do you find the y-intercept, Falcon? Once you get your equation, you plug your 0 in for x. AKA, it's basically, if it's in slope-intercept form, it's basically your b. It's your constant. That's how you find your y-intercept. Okay? If it's in slope-intercept form, if it's in standard form, make your x values equal 0 and then solve. Okay? Yeah, I don't. I do, but I don't. All right. All right. Can I do calculus? No, I cannot. I mean, I can, but I don't want to. Let me clarify that. All right. So for those that said the option was B, you are correct. All right. Let's take a look. Let me stop screen. Slide that over. All right, so what's the value of square root of 100 times the square root of 36? Is it A, 120, B, the square root of 136, C, 60, or D, the square root of 16? Okay, well, thank you, Anna. You got that one? Look at all these C's. Look at all the C's. Okay, there's the answer for number 12. Okay, so loving it. Champagne, yeah. Since you got here. I knew it was Euler, please give me. Yeah, I knew that's what you were trying to say. Okay, so we have the square root of 100 times the square root of 36. Well, the square root of 100 is a perfect square, which gives me 10. Because 10 times 10, or 10 squared, gives me that 100. Now, if it's a perfect square root, there's no more square root once you break it down. Okay, so this is not a square root of 10, it's just 10. Now, square root of 36, that gives me 6. Because 6 times 6, or 6 squared, gives me the square root, or 36. Now multiply 10 times 6. 10 times 6 gives me 60. Okay. I know, that wasn't too crazy, right? They're like, wait, I might stay. It was something that I did. All right, so here's number 14. I feel like things are getting smaller and smaller. All right, which of the following is not equal to 5 squared? The square of 5, 5 squared, 5 cubed, 5 to the second power. Okay, thank you, Angel Square. Appreciate it. All right. All right, thank you, Danielle. So TJ is saying C, Jess saying A, Daniel B, Champagne, the saying C, the C, Big Al. Hey, Big Al, C. I know we snuck in here. Okay. Almost every level alphabet. Okay, we got some C's, There you go. Thank you with the C's. All right. Okay, Poopy, we got it. It's a C. I see. Chin C. Okay. Yes, 5 cubed is 5 to the third power. All right, Billy with a C, Angel with C cubed, C squared. So 5 cubed. 5 cubed is the same as saying 5 to the third power. Okay, that's what 5 cubed means. 5 to the second power, that's what this is saying. 5 squared, that's the same name. The square of 5, that's the same name. All right. Okay. So the square root of 2,197 is it A, 133, B, 13, C, 6.5, or D, 169? So the cube root. Thank you, I love Lucy. I appreciate the gifts. Okay, Butu, I see you with just C. Thank you for that. That was for the last one, I know. Okay, so notification thinks it is 13. Okay, Carlos is saying B as well. Says Kai is saying B. E is saying B. You never heard the cube root. Thank you for your honesty. Okay. Ignore your name. You can't change it. Okay. All right. All right. So Jenna is saying B. Into your calculator. All right. Okay. So 133 and 169 would be too large if you're cubing them. All right. Thank you, kinda. Maddie. How does it feel being efficient? I'm here. You know? How without a calculator? Okay. I'm going to show you in a mo. Okay, we got Big Al with a B, Jacob with a B, MR with a B, Danielle with a B. What is a cube root? I'm going to explain that in a moment. Okay. This will be too small, and plus it won't work because we don't have any decimals. All right, so various. Okay. That's what I was taught. Okay, so here we go. All right, so cube roots. Remember we just did square roots up here? Okay, and the square roots will give us, like our perfect square roots will give us our whole numbers. Okay, squares and square roots are inverses of each other. But when we get to cube roots, cubes is almost like a number that's multiplied by itself 3 times. Going for the root of that kind of does the reverse. So we need to know what number multiplied by itself 3 times will give me 2,197. Well, look, let's just be real. 133 times 133. Seriously? That's going to be a heck of a lot. Huge. Same thing with the 169. Because that we're trying to say 169 times 169 times 169. Like, no. Stop it. Way too huge. Okay? Definitely not going to be a 3-digit number. So boom, D and A are out. When we take that cube root and we have a decimal, you're not going to get a decimal out. That's out. So it's going to be 13. Because we know 13 times 13 is like 169. Multiply that by 13. Because I think I got room down here. No, I don't. So I'll just write it on here. So if we have 9 times 3, that gives me my 7, carry over to 2. So 6 times 3 is 18, and that'll give me 20, carry over to 2. 3 times 1 plus 2 will give me my 5. Then 1 times all of these is going to be itself, so that's 9, that's 6, and that's 1. So I have my 7, I have my 9. 5 plus 6 gives me 11, carry the 1, and then we get our 2. Okay. All right. Yes, bruh. So here's my thing. Everyone's situation of how they're doing with math, what exposure of math they had, varies. It varies from school to school. It varies from district to district. Hell, it even varies from classroom to classroom. Now, if you had a teacher that was into manipulatives, really taking their time, making sure that their students understand the math, you're lucky. If you had a teacher that just gave you packets and say, do the packet, while they're sitting there looking at videos on their TV or their computers, obviously they didn't learn much. Some people had to leave school because of family situations. Mother passed away, father gets in jail or passed away, grandmother who was the main person, he or grandma or grandpa, he or she passes away. Now the oldest has to be the AKA mom to their younger siblings or dad to their younger siblings. So they had to stop school so they can go working. So everyone has different stories of why they may or may not know this. So I love when people are volunteering. Hey, we got God's will. Anybody can do anything, but everyone's story is different. So really this platform that I want to create, especially for people that struggled in math and they just want to get a second chance. So that's why I go slow. That's why I try to take it piece by piece. That's why I stop and I speak like this. Because I don't think anyone has ever stopped to talk to that hurt younger version of yourself that you've been carrying that burden for years. Now it's time to heal that person. All right. So if I'm too slow with things, talking too much, hey, I love you. Thank you for stopping in. This was a great time. But this is the way that I do things. Okay. All right. And the last one for this evening. Okay, what is 952,710 in scientific notation? Okay, if you've never heard of scientific notation, go ahead and put a question mark in the chat. If you think you remember it, go ahead, put the letter down. If you want to put a question mark following it, go ahead and do it. But make a decision. Okay, make a decision. This is the time to, if you make a mistake, guess what? This is not Squid Games. We're not going to kill you at the end. All right? You'll be fine. All right? So put an answer down. Even if you haven't put an answer for a while. Thank you, Catfish, for your honesty. I appreciate it. Okay, never heard of it, Carlos? I got you. Okay. Notation, good. It's saying it's B, so I got some B's. I got a couple C's. I have some B's. All right. Oh, so much paper. Paper everywhere. Okay. Angel Square is saying never heard. Okay. Got you. All right. So we got Chavez with C's, user 1109 with a C, Dre with a C with a question mark, Big Al with a C. We had a couple B's earlier. Okay. A Matt saying C. Okay. On one of your blessings. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. Okay, we're saying the answer is B. Okay. Jenny is saying C. Okay, well, guess with a C. Okay, I'll take that. Yep, I will. I just want to at least give everyone a chance or an opportunity to answer. That's another thing. Everybody wants to be like, here's the answer, here's the answer. Go ahead, go, 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 go. Trust me, I'm not going to be like, all right, that was the question. All right, good night, everybody, and turn off the clock. Like, I'm not going to turn off the live, and not keep you in suspense. No, this is not The Sopranos. I don't want to do that to you. Okay? The nada. All right. So, very confident answer. Awesome. Now, scientific notation. When it comes to, it's always dealing with the power of 10. This is when you have extremely high numbers, which I would love one day to be in my checking account as everyone else. We will get those blessings one day. Or you're dealing with extremely low numbers. Okay, so decimal with 12 or more, just tons of zeros, tons of numbers, right? When you do your scientific notation, here is the key. And let me zoom into the problem so you can see this part. Now, if I pull out that comma, because sometimes people get so confused with the comma. So let me just write them out as straight numbers. When you're about to write this, first off, your leading numbers should always have a decimal between the first number and the second number. Okay, you can never have it like 0.0 anything. You can't have it with 2 or 3 or 4 digits. It always has one whole number from basically 1 to 9. Okay, and then the rest of the numbers will remain. So in this case, I'm going to put 9.5271. And you're like, but Audrey, there's a 0. Hold on. So now I want to count how many decimal places, starting back here, how many decimal places did I have to go in order for me to stop at this spot? So starting back here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had to move that 5 decimal places. Now, since the original was a whole number, my exponent for here is going to be a positive number. And what number goes there is how many times I had to move the decimal place, which was 5. So looking, my answer will be B. It can't be A because it doesn't have the power of 10. Boom, that's done. It couldn't be D because it didn't have the power of 10. Boom, that's done. It couldn't be C because the decimal is not in between the 9 and the 3. We can't have extra zeros, okay? Boom, that's done. So that's why your answer was B. Okay. Thank you, Dre. Oh, there's Richmond. Where have you been, Richmond? I just feel unloved when I don't see Richmond on a live. I just don't feel whole. Like I need it. I need for someone to say they're going to pay $5,000 and they never do. But they keep coming to this live. I think it's my voice. I think it's the attraction of my voice. Or it could be my knuckles. Is it my knuckles? You nasty. Flirts. Like every live. Like seriously, Richmond. You still haven't gotten anything. But he comes every single day. Okay. All right. Is there really basic geometry and physics on ASVAB? There is ASVAB. Remember, there's 2 parts to the ASVAB. There's one part that deals with the reading and the math, and then some science in there, like basic science. But then it also depends on what kind of career you're trying to go after. That's the other part of the ASVAB. Okay. Re-explain number 15. So with the 15, we're looking for a number that it can multiply by itself 3 times because it's a cube root. So 3 times 3, that's the same as 3 squared, which gives me 169. So if I take that 169 and multiply it by 13, that's where I got, I was like, where'd it go? That's where I got our 2,197. Okay. So we need a number that could be multiplied 3 times to give me 2,197. Okay. All right. Not a problem, Jenny. Not a problem, everyone. All right. So let me tell you. I'm going to tell you one more time. Okay. So tomorrow I will be on at 10:30 a.m. And I'm actually going to be looking at some college algebra stuff. So very similar to some of the stuff that we're doing here, but it's going to be more college algebra based. So we're going to be doing a little more factoring. We're going to be doing a little more of the advanced stuff. Now, some of the advanced stuff that you'll see could be a 4-point question on the GED. At least come stop by, look at some math. Okay, you don't have to. And this is the thing that I think a lot of you guys are doing. You're trying to memorize a lot of stuff and you're like, okay, I need to get this GED done. But then you're trying to get it done in like a week. You cannot learn a whole thing of Algebra 1 in a week. I'm sorry. I love you, but no. Okay. There are going to be some things you're going to have to practice. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to understand. Now, if you do feel so inclined, you could go here. Okay, type in here. Make sure you do a little screenshot. Take a look. All of my replays from February 2nd is there. So things that we haven't discussed here, like factoring. Okay, there's videos on factoring. There's videos on graphing. There's videos on graphing equations, linear equations, absolute values. I think I did piecewise at one point. Anything and everything basically under the sun. If it deals with algebra, it has been done multiple times. Now, if you also like my notes, and take this off for a second, I also have another book. I know. You're probably like, Audrey, all these books. I'm like, I know. Still working on some stuff. Audrey's Notes is like my play on Cornell Notes. So if you'd like to get a copy of my exact notes, okay, all of my notes that I do in my notebooks during my lives, you can get that. So like say, here's the example. This is like some geometry stuff that's on the ASVAB. I did that one time. This is book number 3. If you notice, there's a QR code. If you scan this QR code, it will take you directly to the live. Okay, that's probably why I'm getting like dinged. It takes you directly to the live. Night, Jess, take care. That has the geometry ASVAB problems onto it. So every one of these has a QR code to it. Okay, and it takes you to different things. So I have books 1 through 5. The way that I do my lives, they skip all over the place. So there's like really no consistency. One day I could be doing geometry. Another day I'll be doing probability. Another day I might be doing adding and subtracting fractions. Another day I might be multiplying polynomials. So it's like a little hodgepodge of what goes on. So again, the big A or A has this on sale as well. Okay, so you can go books 1 through 5 is available. I'm currently working on book number 6. And I want to say at this rate, book number 6 might be done by next week if I do more individual practices. Okay. All right. So you can either go into A or... Where did my thing go? Here it goes. You can either go in A or you can go here. Okay. So either way, everything will be good and kosher. Alrighty. Okay, do I teach substitution and by parts? Like substitution meaning system of equations? Okay. All right, not a problem. There you go. Integration, not so much. Yeah, anything calculus based, I don't. Okay. All right. Anything calculus based, I don't. Do I have a math degree? Why? You're going to give me a job? Is it because, like, I don't like to do calculus? See, here's my thing. Now that I'm no longer in the classroom, I don't have anybody telling me what to do. I do whatever I bless well feel like. If I love teaching Algebra 2, which I do, I tutor Algebra 2. I also tutor geometry. I don't like constructions, but I suck it up and deal with it. Do I like doing proofing? Yeah, it's not my thing, but you know what? I'd suck it up and deal with it. Algebra 1, of course I love Algebra 1. You know, finding the mystery of X. I love doing that, okay? Calc 2, make you want to die. Well, here's my thing, Fishy. If you need a tutor for Calc 2, if you know Mr. M, okay, I had a great meeting with Mr. M today. He's also a TikTok person. Take a look at him and contact him because he does calculus as well. And literally, his name is Mr. M. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, if you have any questions, if you are in need of a tutor, please don't hesitate. I have 18 slots left, okay, for me to be fully booked. I finally did my calculations today, but actually it's going to be 16 slots because I have a couple new kiddos coming next week. Okay, but barely, don't really know any of it. Really should retake it. Okay. So here's my thing. Like, fishy, seriously, go and reach out to Mr. M. Okay? If you need some more information on the live, you also have my friend Robert Trevors. So he goes live a couple of times too, and he does nothing but calculus. Okay? I was like, I think his name is Robert, the AP math guy or something like that. Oops. Okay, so if you're looking for him, there's something as well. Alrighty? Okay, so go ahead. Go relax. Don't get too crazy because I don't have bail money. So, I'm not bailing you out. You're going to be there all weekend long. And we all know the weekends and the holding cells are always fun. All right, so sarcasm, big time. All right, not a problem, Angel Square. Please, yes, have a great night. And also, I will see you guys. Hopefully, I'll see you guys tomorrow as I'm doing a little bit more with college algebra. Okay? All right, have an awesome night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye now.